this is our second video in the series of Groot, and I want to start out by taking the end that we started with our magic circle, threading it through a wide-eyed needle, and go ahead and pull that as tight as you can get it. And then we're going to finish off this end. We do not need it to complete Groot. So I just take a few stitches inside, kind of split the yarn. You want to hide the tail inside your little Groot. And sometimes this can be really difficult to pull through. But once you get it tied off and you're really certain it's not going to pull out, just take one more stitch. You're not going to see it. Push it right through to the opening. Pull your needle through. I do have a link for some other types of needles that you can pick up if you don't have anything on hand. They're probably a little shorter, and they might be plastic, which would make this a lot easier. Mine are metal for sewing because I do a lot more sewing than I do crocheting. Then I'm just going to cut that off, kind of push back and cut it off, and that end is going to be inside and hidden away. Maybe you've noticed I have a different angle on this camera, and I'll be really honest with you. It is so difficult to crochet and video at the same time with the setup that I have, and I kind of end up contorting my body, which is kind of painful. So I've come to a lower sewing table and set my camera up a little bit differently. From my side, when I play back my videos, it looks fine, and I'm hoping that this angle will work for you as well. So again, just a stitch or two on that second leg. And I hope no one had problems with their leg. It is sometimes you'll stitch a little looser or a little tighter on the second. What you really are looking for is to make sure that they're about the same width and they're about the same length. Again, finished is better than perfect, and I know there's a lot of really talented people on YouTube, and I'm grateful that you choose to follow me. However, if you're looking for perfection, this won't be the channel for you, because I don't believe in getting it perfect. I believe in teaching you a new hobby and helping you be happy with yourself and not stress over the small details. So you can tell from this picture, one is a little bit wider than the other one, but I did try to maintain the same length. The reason that one's a little wider than the other is simply whether or not I got my stitch the same tightness. And I started this channel because my granddaughter had gotten not a Harry Potter kit, a Star Wars kit, and didn't know the first thing about crocheting. So I started this channel for her. Amigurumis have never been my thing, but I have a lot of followers that have enjoyed my teaching style. So again, amigurumis are not the thing that I spend most of my time doing, and definitely not a creator of new patterns. So I just take what you guys want and teach you how to do the craft. So again, if you're looking for perfection, I don't stress on perfection. I stress on having fun, enjoying the process. So again, my legs might not be exactly the same, but when this amigurumi, when Groot is finished, he's gonna look just fine. So we have our second body, and now we have our second leg, and now we're onto the body. And I will say that her body is a little bit interesting, the way she put this together. So what she has done is she has taken her leg number 1 and inserted her hook through a stitch right on the side of the leg. And then she has chained 1. So you can see I have my paper clip attached. She has just chained 1 right there. just a chain one. Then she has laid her leg together, and in approximately the same space on her second leg, she has inserted her hook and she has chained again. So now your two legs are attached with a chain. We are not going to need these longer pieces of thread that we left at the end of our legs, but I'm going to leave them for the moment. And so then we're going to slip right back here, and we are going to start crocheting single crochet around this leg. We can call it leg number 2. And we're simply going to single crochet all the way around. This is really ingenious, actually. I'm always marveling at these pattern creators. So definitely I want you to buy her pattern, support her efforts. She's done a great job. So we're just going to crochet around. You might notice I took the time to put my yarn in a ball. It makes it a lot easier to feed off of. And maybe I said that in the first video. Can't remember. So again, we're still crocheting around until we get to where this meets. And then we're going to chain in that loop that joins them. I don't like how that loosened up, so I'm gonna pull on my paper clip end. I'm going to come back in. I'm going to try to take a little bit deeper. I want to go through both of the yarns on that piece. There we go. That makes a more solid stitch. And then we're going to continue single crocheting around the second leg. Each row will become easier and easier to do your single crochet stitches in. Again, we are simply single crocheting around for rows 12 through 18, building that torso. And sometimes it's easier if you kind of pull your work outward and you can see where to insert your needle a little bit easier. Don't forget, you can always add that stitch marker if you want to be sure where to start and stop your rows. And you can tell it's just easier as we build out. So much easier. That first row, you're really working in the confines of those two legs. Again, just single crochet. Keep it nice and simple. Try to keep your stitches loose enough that when you come back around on your row, you're able to get the head of your crochet hook inside that previous stitch. We have just 2 rounds to go. And this torso is building out nicely. At the end of this video, we'll go ahead and weave in the ends of our legs so that we do not have all of these extra pieces of yarn as we go forward to start the head. And don't forget, if you're enjoying this video, please hit that like button. It helps the algorithm push this video out to others who are seeking a crochet hobby. All right, we are on our last row. I do break this up into several videos because if I were to do this in one sitting, or you were to do this in one sitting, it would be very long and frustrating. So I'd rather have short, quicker videos so you don't lose momentum as you go. All right, we have our little Groot body and legs. And then at this point, she has us go ahead and stuff our little guy, and then we will decrease every other stitch and close up the opening. After your Groot is stuffed, you can see that I evened out my legs with the stuffing. Now we're going to come back to the top of the torso and just decrease a stitch each time, because we want to end up with 9 stitches. So to decrease, remember, you go in 1 stitch, pull out, go in the 2nd stitch, wrap again, pull out. You should have 3 loops on your hook, and then you're pulling through all 3. We're just going to continue to do that all the way around. Just closes this hole up nicely. Have to keep pushing that stuffing in a little bit to give yourself room to see your stitches. Kind of whatever you have to do to make it work for you. My method is not perfect and certainly not the only way to do it. Now obviously the head is going to be a completely separate unit because her instructions have us go ahead and tie off. I don't want to tie off on these 3 stitches, so I'm going to go ahead and take 1 single crochet, pull it through, and then clip. And then she just has us weave this end into our body, and you can see how it closed that up nicely. I'm going to come back, because this time I did leave a long enough tail. I'm going to go ahead and thread my needle, do that tie off like we always do, splitting a few yarns to make sure it creates a nice knot. And then just weave back and forth. And just a heads up, the head video, little play on words, looks pretty intense. We may do that in a couple of videos, depending on how quickly it goes. Again, I like to keep the videos somewhere around 15-20 minutes. Not sure how long this one's going to be when I get it edited, but I do like to keep them a little bit shorter because we all have other lives to lead. So again, I'm pulling that all the way through and hiding it within the torso. There you go. We have the legs and torso of our darling little Groot completed.